What's up, everybody? Welcome back to 7th grade science. Today we are doing our final lesson on ways we can represent energy in an ecosystem. We started 2 lessons ago with food chains, those simple lines with arrows that showed where energy flowed in an ecosystem. Then last lesson we worked on food webs. Food webs are just a bunch of food chains hooked together. You can have multiple producers, multiple consumers, multiple herbivores. Food webs are just complicated food chains. We're seeing a food web right up here. Today we're going to learn how to take a food web and make it into a food pyramid or an energy pyramid. And this is our final way we're going to represent energy in an ecosystem. We're going to start right here by reading this line. It says an energy pyramid is used to show the amount of energy available in each step of a food chain. As I scroll down here, you can notice pyramids start really big at the bottom and get really small at the top. That is representative of how much energy there is in an ecosystem. At the base level, there's a ton, and at the top, there's barely any left. We're going to talk about what that means. Right here, it says the steps of an energy pyramid are called trophic levels. So each of these boxes, that's a trophic level. This is the top trophic level. This is the bottom trophic level. Producers make up the trophic level at the very bottom of the pyramid. So I'm going to come over here. Sometimes give me trouble when I'm typing. There we go. I'm going to label this producers, and I'm going to make the text a little bit smaller. So you should write this inside your box. I also want it to be pretty small because you're going to have to write more stuff. At the very base of this energy pyramid, we have the producers. They're at the bottom trophic level. This is because they produce all energy for the rest of the ecosystem. Everything is built on the producers, just like everything is built on the base of a pyramid. Next up here, it says consumers that eat producers make up the second trophic level. If we remember what consumers that eat producers are called, I'm going to give you a second to think. See if you can write it down before me. We're going to try and remember what are consumers that eat producers. If you don't have it yet, I'm about to type it in. So as a reminder, consumers that eat producers are called herbivores. I have to make that text smaller. There we go. Herbivores are things that eat plants or producers. That comes in at the second level. Then if we move further along, consumers that eat other consumers make up the top trophic levels. That's all these up top. I'm not going to type anything in those boxes yet until we get to our example. But up here, you have a bunch of consumers that eat other animals. Those are usually called carnivores. Decomposers and the sun do not appear in the energy pyramid. So sometimes we used to have the sun at the very base of our food chains, or we would have decomposers connecting our food webs together. Inside of food pyramids, energy pyramids, we don't do that, all right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fill in this energy pyramid according to this food web. We know what food webs mean. We're going to now translate that to an energy pyramid. So I want you to start down here with me at producers. You should have written the word producers, and now we're going to label the producers inside this web. If you remember, producers give their energy to the ecosystem. They do not receive any energy. That means all arrows are pointing out of producers. Here's our first producer. It is grass. Go ahead and label that. Grass is our first producer. Come over here. Our second producer is the shrub. It's got arrows going to the rabbit, to the grasshopper, all over. So our second one is the shrub. And finally, over here on the right side, we have the tree. The tree is giving its energy only 2 directions, to the deer and all the way to the squirrel. But it is a producer nonetheless. I got a little cut off in there, but you should have put producers are the grass, the shrubs, and the trees. All right, now we're looking for herbivores. If you want to take a second here, pause the video. Try to name the herbivores yourself. After you give that a chance, I'm going to tell you what they are. Go ahead and pause and give it a shot. All right, now that you've given it a chance, I'm going to talk about what the herbivores are. Remember, herbivores get their energy from producers. So whatever has an arrow from one of our producers, that is an herbivore. So let's trace from our first producer. We know it's grass. Our first herbivore, or our first primary consumer, is the grasshopper right here. I'm going to type that, grasshopper. Next up, I'm going to run out of space here, so make sure you write what I say because I'm going to run out of space. Another primary consumer or herbivore is the rabbit. See, the rabbit gets its energy from the shrub, the right rabbit. Keep looking. What eats a producer right here? The deer. The deer eats the tree. It gets its energy from the tree. Go ahead and add deer. And finally, one that's kind of hiding over here, it also gets its energy from the tree, is the squirrel. Notice right here, the fungi. I'm not including the fungi. That's because it's a decomposer. If it's a decomposer, it does not go inside our energy pyramid. I just changed my text size there, so you should be able to see it all. Our herbivores are the grasshopper, the rabbit, the deer, and the squirrel. Notice the producers make the most energy. It's the biggest level. As we moved up one level, the herbivores don't have as much energy as the producers. Some of it went away. Where did that energy go? I want you to come right underneath where my cursor is right here, and I'm going to type it in bold. You should write it in caps. Heat is energy loss. See where I typed that? I want you to write that on your organizer. Heat is energy loss. When these things move around throughout their lives, throughout their daily experiences, they're giving off energy, giving off heat. So each time energy is transferred from this level up to this level, we only gain, and I want you to write this as well, 10% of the energy. So the producers make a bunch of energy. Only 10% of it moves to the herbivores. Once the herbivores are eaten, they only give 10% of their energy to the next level. Not all this energy is transferred. Most of it is lost as heat. Now we're going to go to our third level here. So we're trying to identify what eats. I gotta make myself type. There we go. We are trying to identify right now what gets its energy from the grasshopper, the rabbit, the deer, and the squirrel. So I'm going to start at the squirrel. Right here, I'm looking around. I don't quite know where to progress next, right? This web gets really, really crazy. I need to find another way to break this down. And I'm going to tell you how you can break that down right now. You're going to look for things that eat only herbivores. That's what's going to go in the third level. So I couldn't put the hawk in the third level because the hawk does eat the squirrel. But what else does the hawk eat? It eats the shrew. It eats the snake. It eats one more thing because there's 3 hours. It eats the bird. The hawk is not eating just herbivores, so we need to find something that only eats herbivores. For example, look at the bird. The bird's only arrow coming into it is from the grasshopper. The grasshopper is an herbivore. So let's go ahead and type in this level, the bird. Again, we put bird here because it's only eating herbivores. There's one more animal that's only eating an herbivore, and that is the shrew. Right here, I'm circling with my mouse. The shrew only consumes the grasshopper. So that goes in our third level. Now in the fourth level, what we have to identify is what eats our third level producers. So what eats the shrew only or the bird only? Remember, it can't eat more than that. Only the bird, only the shrew. I look up here. The snake has an arrow coming into it from the shrew. We are going to put the snake here in the fourth level. I can type a little bit bigger now because we're on the top level. The snake here eats only the tier below it. It only eats things inside of level 3. Finally, we're going to go up to level 4. If you're a little confused on how to make these pyramids, you're never going to have to make one in class. You're just going to have to be able to read them. So if you're a little confused why I'm putting certain things where they are, don't worry too much. Finally, I have to put in 2 more animals. These are the top level consumers. The top level consumers in this ecosystem are right up here, the mountain lion and the hawk. So I'm going to try and type that inside of my text. If I cannot fit it, because my text box is so small, I just want you to write it. Right up here, there we go. I'm going to abbreviate mountain lion. I can't type. And I am going to put hawk. Those are our top level consumers, I apologize. These are our top level consumers. All right, so I just lost my food web. There we go, it's back. So this is what we learned about today. That's all there was to it. We just need to know that as you progress up an energy pyramid, energy decreases, right? The pyramid gets smaller. It comes to a point. Finally, the things at the top of the pyramid, they are the highest level consumers. The things at the base of the pyramid, they are producers. Now this is important. I'm going to highlight this yellow. I'm going to highlight this with yellow. I want you to write something about it. Actually, I'll bold it. See if I can make this bold. I can't make it bold, but I've highlighted it with my mouse, and I want you all to box in the second level, star, the second level, something about this herbivore level. And then you are going to write consumes most energy. So this kind of fits with what I was just talking about, saying 10% of the energy moves up each time. Remember, we lose energy as heat. The most energy that can ever get accessed at a certain level is the herbivores. The herbivores get to get most of the energy from the plants. After that, energy just continues to be lost up the pyramid. So the herbivores are the level that consumes the most energy. All right, that's about it for this video. If you are done with this station, check out the sheet on your table. It tells you where you need to go next. You're up to independent practice at your next station. Great job.